Hello, my name is Louis Durrant. I'm a sole developer on the game The Garden Path that I've been working on in the Godot engine. I work under a business called Carrotcake. I used to make Flash games and always had an interest in art and animation. Had kind of a small interest in making games, but always wanted to try and learn the coding so that I could bring my artwork to life in my illustrations. My university course was a little bit strange. It let me create art games. I ended up making 2 games, but I really wanted to make a new game. I wanted to use a real engine, a multi-purpose engine. And so there were a few options for engines that I could try. So the Godot engine had just released 3.0, and there were a few reasons why I was particularly interested in Godot. I really wanted to get behind an open source game engine. Now, I've always been an advocate for open source. I've been using Linux since I was a kid. I like the idea of creating something with free and open source software so that I know that my files will always be supported, they'll always be safe, so long as there's someone out there willing to do the work to support the engine that creates them. Godot is an appealing option, and there are a few others, but they were coming and going, and I wasn't sure which one to put my backing into, but I chose Godot, and I'm glad I did, because 6 years later now, The Garden Path has released, fully powered by Godot. I'm really happy to be part of that scene and part of the engine's history, hopefully. Because a large part of choosing Godot was that I wanted to pick an engine that was open source, so if someone was like, I want to make a game, they could point to something and be like, well, if that was made in Godot, maybe I could make something in Godot as well. The important thing is that the Godot engine for a 2D game like mine had all the tools that I needed to go from zero all the way up to launch. And while I originally planned for the game to be released as a sort of a Linux and PC game, we identified the Nintendo Switch as a really good candidate for another platform. But Godot being free and open source software, it needs some help with the licensing, and that's where W4 came in. We'd worked with a couple other companies who were also porting the Godot game into Nintendo Switch. However, we really wanted to use the new capabilities of Godot 4. And so W4 were one of the few people who were offering Godot 4 as an option to port into Switch. And so we reached out to W4, and so I was working with W4 for a few months, and we were able to get the game through lot check with Nintendo and out into the world on July 30th. And working with W4 has always been a really close, tight experience. It's so cool to have people who are so embedded with Godot's culture and open source culture in general working in that team and just having an open conversation with them and being able to work with them to create something that really works on the Nintendo Switch. It was great working in Godot, it being open source. It is so community driven, and seeing these same names that I would see issue tracking and just Googling how to do certain things, that these same people were the people working in W4 to help make the game possible on Switch. So I'm hoping that the relationship between Carrotcake and W4 will continue moving forward. I'm really proud to have the game on Nintendo Switch. I'm really proud to have people playing on it, and also hopefully bear that Godot flag going forward, so that people can know that this is a game that they could make themselves with no add-ons, no strange bits of software, just with the help of W4 to bring the game onto the Nintendo Switch. So I think the work that W4 are doing is important as a way to bring more developers onto platforms like the Nintendo Switch, which can seem a little bit scary, but I think with these bits of software streamlining the process, I think there can be many more developers making great games, and I'm sure there's many of you sitting in the audience here today. Go out, download Godot, I'm sure you already have, and make some great games and see where you can take it. Wishing you the best of luck. Thanks. Bye-bye.